Hello all and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to discuss Resident Evil 8 Village, specifically the new Mercenaries mode that they announced yesterday in the Resident Evil showcase. When I first started watching the showcase, I knew that they were going to announce something big, and it wasn't really anything that I looked too much into. I thought possibly we might be getting an announcement on the RE4 remake, but being a huge fan of the franchise, I was really excited when I saw that they were bringing back Mercenaries mode. This mode was first introduced in Resident Evil 5, and I remember playing it with my buddy quite a bit. We had a lot of fun, and it at the time had quite a bit of a big fan following, and people really enjoyed sort of the outcome that could happen with the different weapons and different difficulties and time management that you had to use throughout that sort of arcade style gaming. You could choose from a different set of characters. Albert Wesker, I know, is probably the most popular, and with a lot of different weapon combinations, you could take on pretty much any creature the game threw at you. It was a lot of fun and honestly kind of gave a lot of creative outlet, I guess, to people who didn't want to play the story just all the way through. They wanted a more varied way of playing, and again, in a very arcade style. Capcom continued this with Resident Evil Revelations 1 and Revelations 2. They called it raid mode there, and while it's a different mode, and there definitely are differences, such as there's no time evaluation, so you can take your time in certain game modes. Raid mode was much more of a competitive, almost co-op shooter. It had the audacity to try to take on what Mercenaries mode did, and it didn't actually fail too badly. They made it a lot of fun, and the customization and upgrading of the weapons were a huge benefit that made the gameplay pretty solid and continued in the same tradition as Mercenaries mode from Resident Evil 5. They also had a variety of characters, including Hunk, and I believe Rachel was the new one that they introduced there. It was really interesting to see them bring this all together, especially in the second version of Revelations. But now we come on with Resident Evil 8 Village in their Mercenaries mode. When they introduced this, I basically jumped out of my seat because I didn't think that Capcom would be giving us what we had been asking for some time now. A lot of people really wanted sort of the arcade style to come back, not as part of the main game of the Resident Evil franchise, but rather sort of these side quests, and it looks like Capcom listened. Immediately when I saw this, I got totally reminded of Resident Evil 7, specifically the Nightmare mode that you used in the DLC. There you played as Ethan, who was stuck in the basement of the Baker house, and you had to survive the night and basically fight off waves of molded infected, as well as Jack Baker, who would come down as sort of a boss fight at the end of each round. It was a lot of fun, but really difficult, and something that I would have to stress to any new player looking to get into that game mode, despite being a few years old now, is that inventory management is key, and it looks like that's going to continue with Mercenaries mode here in Resident Evil 8 Village. The gameplay in Village looks absolutely incredible, and I think it's keeping up with the same pace and tension that Resident Evil 7 brought. They're keeping the first person mode, which I like, because it kind of brings you closer to the action and combat, and like I said, can increase the tension, especially if you're using the sort of speed and angular movement that the games are known for. It gets really creepy and sometimes can be unsettling when you get cornered and don't have an easy way out. Sometimes that claustrophobic feeling can definitely resonate back to Revelations 1 and 2 gameplay, when you would think that you'd have a hallway that you'd be able to explore, but you eventually get caught up between too many hunters or too many infected, and well, you just kind of have to give up and start over. Sometimes you can have that ability to just sort of move your way through it, but there are a lot of times throughout that game where if you didn't look the right way, or if you didn't shoot the right bullet in the right place, that was the end. And it looks like Resident Evil 8 is keeping in that tradition. It also looks like that Capcom has now added abilities into Mercenary mode. And this looked really cool at first to me, but then I got worried. I essentially like the idea of abilities to be able to kind of give you a leg up on the action, but I didn't want this to turn Mercenaries mode into Call of Duty Zombies. And looking further into the abilities, it looks like it's really kind of simplistic in terms of what you can gain. Basically faster movement speed, your pistols do more damage, so lower tier weapons might actually be useful against bigger, badder enemies. And it seems just sort of small perks that can help you in combat. Nothing too over the top or overpowered, which is kind of how I want to keep it. I want Resident Evil to stay sort of hardcore in its dealing with battling against the infected. Where the real gameplay customization comes in is with the weapons. It looks like the weapons have a variety of customization, upgrades to whether how much your damage does, to how far you can shoot and keep the same damage with your bullets, to magazine extensions. It looks like they really kind of went all out with this stuff, and I'm glad that they're using the weapons as kind of the basis to up your game, because essentially that's going to be the difference between surviving and, well, dying. I also just want to note that I really love that they remade the merchant character into, well, this new character called the Duke. It seems like you're going to be utilizing him quite a bit throughout the different rounds in this Mercenaries mode, and the fact that he's kind of interwoven into the lore of the story as well as the multiplayer aspect is kind of smart on Capcom's part, because it shows that they're investing in these characters in the long run and want players to be invested in this franchise and the universe it's creating. I did just mention that this was multiplayer, and I have no evidence to back that up, so I apologize for saying that. Mercenaries mode was always co-op, and you're able to connect online and play with other players, as well as in raid mode with Revelations 1 and 2, but I'm not quite sure as to whether or not this Mercenaries mode will be co-op. I really hope it is, especially with kind of bringing together players from within the Resident Evil universe. You know, we've seen different things such as Resident Evil Resistance in the past couple years. Obviously the raid mode and Mercenaries mode did co-op, and they had Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. So they've proven, Capcom has, that they can do co-op games correctly and they can do multiplayer games correctly. I just want to see them invest the time and effort into them that it takes, because, you know, the past couple iterations have not been good. I think this the Steam release of Umbrella Corps was pulled after like 6 months because it was so buggy and such a mess. So hopefully Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 8 Village is co-op, or at least multiplayer in some facet, and we can fight zombies alongside our friends. So all in all, I'd have to say I'm pretty excited for this new game mode. It looks like they're really going all out with Resident Evil 8 Village, and I know there's already rumors appearing that supposedly Resident Evil 9's in development, and that 7, 8, and 9 are going to be a trilogy, possibly the Ethan Winters trilogy. So that's a cool idea, but you know, I think if Capcom keeps going the way they're going, especially with the mainline entries in the franchise, they're going to have a hit on their hands. I mean, they really are putting all their assets in, and I don't think they should let go anytime soon. But anyways, those are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what yours are in the comments, and please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, this is Aces signing off.